tonight, all eyes will be on the 2024 Republican presidential candidates as primary voters in Iowa cast their ballots.
All right, buckle up. Here we go. This will be the first glimpse of who Republicans want to represent their party. Joining us live right now, CBS 8 political analyst Wendy Patrick to tell us more about the importance of today's caucus. Wendy.
So if we are worried about the weather here in San Diego, all you need to do is compare it to Iowa, where we're going to have the caucuses today. Sub-zero temperatures had the Weather Service asking people to please stay home today if they don't have anywhere important to go. But of course they do, because this is the Republican caucus and the opportunity to make sure that they get the vote for their own candidate. And let me tell you what's a little bit different about the caucuses this year. It's about who's going to win the silver medal. There is no surprises who's in first place, and that's Donald Trump. The only wild card here, I would say, caused by the weather, which definitely is not built for comfort, is whether or not there's a sense of complacency among Trump voters in thinking to themselves, much as some of the Hillary Clinton voters did in 2016, he's so far ahead, there's no need for me to attend the caucus and cast my vote. That would be very dangerous for Trump voters, and they don't want to take that risk. For them, it's about commitment over complacency. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, remember that these don't start until 7 p.m., okay? It's dark, it's freezing, and you have to get into the car and drive to every single one of the caucus locations. So that in and of itself really kind of puts a damper on the amount of people that are going to go and vote for any candidate. So in a sense, the caucus is about turnout. On the other hand, it's also about enthusiasm. Now, why do I say that's so important? One of the polls over the weekend didn't just ask who are you going to vote for on the Republican side. They asked how enthusiastic are you about your candidate? And wouldn't you know, the Trump voters were far more enthusiastic about voting for Donald Trump than the DeSantis voters or the Haley voters. Now, why is that important on a sub-zero night? Because it's more evidence that they are going to get that car warmed up, do what they need to do to get themselves to their caucus location, talk to their friends and neighbors, which, by the way, distinguish caucuses from simply going to a polling place, and then share why they're voting for their candidate. So let me just pivot for a second and talk about why tonight is going to be so important for Haley and DeSantis. DeSantis has spent an inordinate amount of time campaigning in Iowa. Were he to come in third, that could be a death knell for his campaign going into the next couple of states because of the amount of time he spent there on the ground. So because they're so close, it's almost a momentum issue for the number 2 and the number 3 spots. Yeah. So that's what's going to go on tonight. We are all going to wait to see how that shakes out. Yeah. But my prediction, if such things can be said this early in the game, is that Donald Trump runs away with it. It's going to be very close between number 2 and number 3, but at this point, it looks like it might go to DeSantis. I'm sure you'll use that against me if it goes the other way.
All right, Wendy, good to get your insight. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, we will find out come tomorrow and over the next several weeks what's to come. Thank you very much for your insight.